Hi friends, my name is Maruti and I am the co-founder of Krakow. In this video, we will be looking at the solutions for CMAT 2020, the quant section. Initially, the question will be displayed and I would recommend you to pause the video and try to answer the question on your own. If you are able to get it or even if you are not able to get it, you can then watch the video to see how we have solved it. We have a lot of free resources for students who are attempting CMAT. We have one free mock, one free CMAT mock. The link to take it is given in the description. We also have previous paper PDFs of CMAT exam. We also have 5 mocks in the latest pattern for CMAT, 5 latest pattern CMAT mocks. If you want to enroll to them, again you can find the link to this in the description below. If you need any help with respect to preparation of CMAT, feel free to comment below this video. We'll be more than happy to help. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Please comment if you have any doubts or if you need any help. All the best and let's get started. In this question we are told that in how many ways can a committee consisting of 5 men and 6 women be formed from 8 men and 10 women. So the total number of men is 8. And from this we have to select 5 men. Similarly, the total number of women is 10 and from this we have to select 6 women. The number of ways in which we can select 5 men out of 8 men is 8C5. This is equal to 8 into 7 into 6 divided by 3 into 2 into 1. Because over here the order is not important. Who we selected first is not important. We just have to select 5 people. So that will be 8 into 7 into 6 divided by 3 into 2 into 1. And the number of ways in which you can select 6 women from 10 women is 10C6, which is equal to 10 into 9 into 8 into 7 divided by 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So the total number of ways is 8C5 into 10C6. So let us calculate the value of both. 8C5 is quite easy. 6 can be cancelled with 3 into 2 in the denominator. So this will equal 56. And 10C6 is 10 into 9 into 8 into 7 divided by 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. The denominator is 24. 9 into 8 is 72. So 72 divided by 24 is 3. So 10C6 is 10 into 7 into 3, which is equal to 210. So the required answer will be 56 into 210. This is equal to 11,760. So the correct answer is option D. In this question, we are required to calculate the farthest distance between 2 points on a cylinder. The height is given as 8 and the radius is given as also 8. So let us try to understand what is exactly meant by it. Let us assume that this is the cylinder. The height is 8 and the radius is 8. So it will be something like this. This is the cylinder. We are required to calculate the farthest distance. So one point will be at the bottom and one point will be at the diametrically opposite end but at the top. So we are required to calculate this distance, the distance between these 2 points A, B. Let us assume that the diametrically opposite point of A but at the top is say equal to C. So the distance between A and C will equal the diameter of the cylinder. The radius is given to be equal to 8. So what is the diameter? That will equal 16 and the height is equal to BC, which is given as equal to 8. So if you are trying to find out the distance between A and B, we have to use the Pythagoras theorem because ABC is a right angle triangle. So the length of the hypotenuse, which is equal to AB, can be calculated as square root of 8 square plus 16 square, which is equal to square root of 64 plus what is 16 square, that is equal to 256. This is equal to square root of 320. 320 is 64 into 5. 64 is 8 square. So if you bring 64 out of the square root, this will equal square root of 64 into square root of 5, which is equal to 8 into square root of 5. So the correct answer is option A, 8 into square root of 5. In this question, we are required to find out the smallest number by which 2400 should be divided to make it a perfect cube. So let us first factorize 2400 into prime factors and then let us try to identify the answer. What is 2400? 2400 is equal to 100 into 24. 24 is 8 into 3, so that is equal to 2 cube into 3. What is 100? 100 is 10 square, 10 is 2 into 5, So the value of 100 should be 2 square into 5 square. Or we can simplify this as 2 to the power 2 plus 3, so that is equal to 2 to the power 5 into 3 into 5 square. This is the value of 2500 after we do the prime factorization. What we are required to find out is by what number should this be divided to make it a perfect cube. If you are having a perfect cube, say which is after you factorize it is of the form p1 to the power a1 into p2 to the power a2 into dot dot dot, all the powers should be multiples of 3. That is the definition of a perfect cube. So in this particular case, 2400 should become equal to 2 to the power 3, which is the largest number, which is a multiple of 3, which is less than 5, into 3 to the power 0 into 5 to the power 0, because you want all the powers of 3, 2 and 5 to be multiples of 3. So in this particular case, 2400 should be divided by 2 to the power 5 minus 3 is 2 square, into 3 to the power 1 minus 0 is 3, into 5 to the power 2 minus 0 is 5 square. So once you divide 2400 by this number, you are going to get this number, which is a perfect cube. So the correct answer is 2 square into 3, that is 4 into 3 into 5 square is 25. 25 into 4 is equal to 100 into 3 is 300. So the correct answer is 300, which is option D. In this question, we are told that in a certain town, 40% of the people have brown hair, 30% of the people have brown eyes, and 12% have both brown hair and brown eyes. We are required to calculate what is the percentage of people who have neither brown hair nor brown eyes. This is a Venn diagrams question where there are two parameters, that is some people have brown hair, some people have brown eyes, some people have both, and some people have neither. So let us draw two circles which overlap. One of them will represent the number of people or the percentage of people who have brown hair, and one will represent the percentage of people who have brown eyes. So this is brown hair and this is brown eyes. 40% of the people have brown hair and 30% of the people have brown eyes. 12% are in the overlap, so they have both brown hair as well as brown eyes. So if you are trying to identify what is the percentage of people who have only brown hair but not brown eyes, that will be 40 minus 12, that is equal to 28%. Similarly, if you are trying to identify the percentage of people who have only brown eyes but not brown hair, that will be 30 minus 12, which is equal to 18%. So if you are trying to identify what is the total number of people who have either brown hair or brown eyes, that will be 28 plus 12 plus 18. So that will equal 28 plus 12 plus 18, which is equal to 58%. So 58% of the people have either brown hair or brown eyes. So what is the percentage of people who have neither brown hair nor brown eyes? That will be 100 minus 58, which is equal to 42%. So the answer in this case is 42%. In this question, we are told that a company publishes to its customers that at a certain compound interest rate, a sum of money deposited by anyone will become 8 times in 3 years. Now, if the same amount is deposited at the same compound interest rate, after how many years will it become 16 times? So let us assume that the initial principal is P and the rate of interest is R. So the information tells us that at the end of 3 years, the amount becomes equal to 8P. That is 8P is equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 whole cube. You can simplify this, you can cancel P on both sides. So 1 plus R by 100 whole cube is equal to 8, or 1 plus R by 100 is equal to cube root of 8, which is equal to 2, or R by 100 is equal to 1. That is the rate of interest is equal to 100%. What we are told is that we have to calculate after how many years will it become 16 times. So let us assume that it becomes 16 times after say t years. So P into 1 plus R by 100 whole to the power t is equal to 16P. As we have found out earlier, R is equal to 100%. So 1 plus R by 100 is equal to 2. So P into 2 to the power t is equal to 16P. You can cancel P on both sides. So the value of t will become equal to 4, because 2 to the power 4 is equal to 16. So the correct answer is 4 years. In this question, we are told that the sum of two numbers is 135 and their HCF is 9. How many such numbers can be formed? So let us assume that both the numbers are 9x and 9y. Because as the highest common factor of both the numbers is 9, it would imply that both the numbers are divisible by 9, and the sum of these two numbers is equal to 135. So 9x plus 9y is equal to 135. or the value of x plus y is equal to 15. What do we know about x and y? We know that x and y are natural numbers, they can't be fractions. We also know that x and y should have no common factor. Why should x and y have no common factor? Because we are told that the HCF of the two numbers is 9. This would imply that 9x and 9y, the only number which is common between both of them is 9. If say x and y have another common factor, say both of them are divisible by 2, then the HCF of 9x and 9y will be equal to 9 into 2, which is equal to 18. So you want x and y to have no other common factors, and you want their sum to equal 15. How many different possible pairs are possible? So let us assume that x is equal to 1, then y is equal to 14. This is a valid pair. If x is equal to 2, y is equal to 13. This is also a valid pair. If x is equal to 3, the value of y is 12, but 3 and 12 have a number which is common, which is 3. So this is not possible. X can be 4, then y will be 11. This is also possible. X can be 5, then y is 10. This is again not possible because both of them have a common factor, which is 5. 6 and 9 is also not possible because the common factors for 6 and 9 is 3. 7 and 8 is again possible because both of them are relatively prime to each other, they have no common factors. So if you look at the total number of pairs that are possible, it is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So the total number of pairs that are possible is 4. In this question we are given an expression and we are asked to simplify it. Let us look at the numerator and let us look at the denominator separately. The denominator is 0.54, so that's simple. If you are looking at the numerator, it is 0.3 into 0.3 plus 0.03 into 0.03 minus 0.6 into 0.03. Let us first combine the last two terms. If you take 0.03 common, this will become equal to 0.03 minus 0.6, that is minus of 0.57. So this is minus 0.03 into 0.57 and this is 0.3 into 0.3. Now in the first term we have 0.3, in the second term we have 0.03. So let us try to take 0.03 common. So we will change the first expression into 0.03 into 3. So the given expression or the numerator of the given expression is equal to 0.03 into 3 minus 0.03 into 0.57. Now let us take 0.03 common. So this will become equal to 0.03 into 3 minus 0.57, which is equal to 2.43. This is the numerator and we have 0.54 in the denominator. 0.03 divided by 0.54 is simply equal to 1 by 18. So the required expression is equal to 2.43 divided by 18. We can multiply the numerator and denominator by 100 to simplify the calculations. So this is equal to 243 divided by 18 into 100. We can divide the numerator and denominator by 9. So this becomes equal to 27 and this becomes equal to 2. So this is 27 by 2 divided by 100, or this is 13.5 divided by 100, which is equal to 0.135. So the correct option in this case is option B. In this question we are told that LCM and HCF of two numbers are 84 and 21. We are also told that the ratio of the two numbers is 1:4 and we are required to calculate the larger of the two numbers. As the ratio of the two numbers is given to be equal to 1:4, let us assume that both the numbers are x and 4x. We are given the LCM and the HCF of two numbers. What we know is that if the LCM and HCF of two numbers, say A and B, are equal to L and H, the product of the two numbers, that is A into B, is always equal to the product of their LCM and HCF. If you take any two numbers, you find their LCM, you find their HCF, then the product of the LCM and the HCF will be the same as the product of the two numbers. So in this particular case, if you are looking at the product of the two numbers, x into 4x will equal 84 into 21. Or you can simplify this as x square is equal to 21 square, because 84 divided by 4 is also equal to 21. Or the value of x is equal to 21 and the two numbers will be x and 4x. So the two numbers will be 81 and 21 and 84 themselves. So the larger of the two numbers will be 84, which is the answer. In this question we are told that x is to y is equal to 2 is to 3 and we are required to calculate the ratio of 3x plus 2y is to 2x plus 5y. So as x is to y is equal to 2 is to 3, let x be equal to 2k and let y be equal to 3k. Then what is the value of 3x plus 2y? 3x plus 2y will become equal to 3 into 2x. So that is 3 into 2k plus 2y, that is 2 into 3k. So the numerator will be equal to 6k plus 6k, which is equal to 12k. This is the numerator. And the denominator is 2x plus 5y. What is the value of 2x plus 5y? 2x will be 2 into 2k plus 5y will be 5 into 3k. This is equal to 4k plus 15k, which is equal to 19k. So the required ratio is 12k is to 19k. You can cancel k on both sides, so the required ratio is 12 is to 19, which is the answer. In this question we are told that the work done by a man, woman and child are in the ratio 3 is to 2 is to 1. That is, if there is a man, woman and child. Let us assume that the work done by a man in a day is 3x, then the work done by a woman is 2x and the work done by a child is x. We are also told that the daily wages of 20 men plus 30 women plus 36 children is equal to 78 rupees. That is, what is the total work done by these guys in one day? 20 men will do 60x work, 30 women will do 30 into 2x, which is again 60x, and 36 children will do 36 into x, so that is 36x. Or the total work that will be done by them is 156x, for which they are paid a total of 78 rupees. That is, to make x units of work, what is the amount of money that is paid to them? It will be 78 divided by 156, which is equal to 1 by 2 rupees. We are asked to find out what will the total wages be for 15 men plus 21 women plus 30 children over 18 weeks. That is 18 into 7 days. What is the total work done by 15 men in one day? It will be 15 into 3x, so that is 45x. By 21 women will be 21 into 2x, so that is equal to 42x. And by 30 children it will be 30x. So the total work done by these guys in one day will be 45 plus 42, that is 87x. 87 plus 30, that is equal to 117x. This is the total amount of work done by them in one day, for which what is the total amount of money that will be paid to them? That will be into half, so that is 117 into 1 by 2. This is the total amount of money that is paid to them in one day. We are required to find out how much they will be paid in 18 weeks. So you multiply it with 18 and with 7. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So we are required to find out the value of 117 into 9 into 7 is 63. This will be equal to 7371, which is the answer. In this question we are told that x and y are running towards each other's houses. X can reach y's house in 25 minutes. So let us assume that these are the two houses. This is x's house and this is y's house. X can go to y's house in 25 minutes. We are told that this is half the time taken by y to run from his house to x's house. That is, if y is running from his house to x's house, how much time will he take? He will take double the time, so he is going to take 50 minutes. If the two start running towards each other at the same time, how much more time will it take for y to reach the middle of the two houses? So how much time does it take x to reach the middle of the two houses? To go the entire distance it takes him 25 minutes. So to go to middle of the road it will take him 12.5 minutes. And y takes 50 minutes to reach x's house. So he'll reach the middle in exactly 25 minutes. So the additional time taken by y is 25 minus 12.5, which is equal to 12.5 minutes. In this question we are told that 25,000 is borrowed at compound interest at the rate of 3% for the first year, 4% for the second year and 5% for the third year. Find the amount that needs to be paid after 3 years. So the principal amount is 25,000. The interest for the first year is 3%. So what will the amount be at the end of the first year? It will be 25,000 into 1.03. This will be the principal for the second year and the interest rate for the second year is 4%. So what will the amount be at the end of the second year? It will be into 1.04. This is the amount at the end of the second year, which will be the principal for the third year. and the interest rate for the third year is 5%. So what will the amount be at the end of the third year? It will be into 1.05. This is the amount that needs to be paid back at the end of the third year. You can simplify this and you will find out that the answer is equal to 28,119. In this question, we are told that two successive discounts of 8% and 12% are given, and what does this equal as a single discount? The cumulative effect of two successive discounts, if they are equal to x and y, is equal to x plus y minus x into y divided by 100. In this particular case, the value of x is 8 and the value of y is 12. So the cumulative effect of both of the successive discounts will be 8 plus 12 minus 8 into 12 divided by 100. This is equal to 20 minus 96 by 100 is 0.96. This will equal 19.04%. So two successive discounts of 8% and 12% will equal a single discount of 19.04%. In this question, we are told that a shopkeeper marks his books by 25% above the cost price, and due to slump in the market, his cost reduces by 5%. And then to boost his sales, he offers a discount of 8%, because of which his sales go up by 25%, and we are required to calculate the change in the shopkeeper's profit. So let us assume that initially the cost price is, say, rupees 100 per book. Let the selling price, because he has marked it up by 25%, then will become equal to rupees 125. So the profit per book for every book that he sold is equal to rupees 25. And let us assume that initially he sold 100 books. So his total profit initially without any change is equal to 25 into 100, which is equal to 2500. Now after this, he changes certain parameters. First, his cost reduces by 5%. So the cost per book, instead of being rupees 100, becomes equal to rupees 95. He even changes his selling price by giving a discount of 8%. This 8% discount is given on 125. So what is the actual discount? It will be 8% into 125, which is equal to 8 by 100 into 125, which is equal to 10 rupees. So he is giving a discount of 10 rupees. So the selling price will become equal to 125 minus 10, which is equal to rupees 115. So now what is the profit per book? The profit per book now is equal to 115 minus 95, which is equal to rupees 20. And what is the number of books he is selling? His sales also go up by 25%. Initially he was selling 100 books. Now he will be selling 125 books. So what is his new profit? That is the new total profit. That is equal to 20 into 125, which is again equal to rupees 2500. So in both the scenarios, there is no change in the total profit. Question, we are told that a brother and sister, both of them appear for an interview. The probability of selection of the brother is 1 by 8. So for brother, the probability of selection is equal to 1 by 8. So what is the probability of his getting rejected? It is 1 minus 1 by 8, which is equal to 7 by 8. While the probability of rejection for the sister is 4 by 5. So what is the probability of her getting selected? It is 1 minus 4 by 5, which is equal to 1 by 5. We are required to calculate the probability that exactly one of them is selected. So what is the probability that the brother is selected and the sister is rejected? That will be equal to 1 by 8 into 4 by 5. And what is the probability that the brother is rejected and the sister is selected? It will be plus 7 by 8 into 1 by 5. So the first number is 4 by 40 and the second number is 7 by 40. So the overall probability is 4 plus 7, that is equal to 11 by 40. This is the answer. In this question, we are told that Tom's salary is 150% that of John's salary and John's salary is 80% that of Steve's salary. We are required to calculate the ratio of Steve's salary to Tom's salary. So as you can see, there are three people. There is Tom, there is John, and there is Steve. Let us assume that Steve's salary is X. John's salary is 80% of Steve's salary, so John's salary will be 0.8x. Tom's salary is 150% of John's salary, so Tom's salary will be 1.5 into 0.8x, If you simplify this will be equal to 1.2x. We are required to calculate the ratio of Steve's salary to that of Tom's salary. So the required ratio is x is to 1.2x. You can cancel x on both sides, so this will be 1 is to 1.2, or if you multiply both of them with 5, this will be 5 is to 6. So the required ratio in this case is 5 is to 6, which is option D. In this question we are told that there are 6 teachers. Of the 6 teachers, there are 2 teachers who teach physics. So let the 2 teachers who teach physics, let them be equal to P1 and P2. There are 2 teachers who teach chemistry. So the 2 teachers who teach chemistry, let them be equal to C1 and C2. And finally the rest teach mathematics. So there are 2 more teachers who teach mathematics, let them be equal to M1 and M2. These 6 teachers have to stand in a row such that the physics teachers, the chemistry teachers and the maths teachers, they have to stand together. That is, they have to stand in a set. The number of ways in which they can do this is supposed to be calculated. So let us assume that the group P1 and P2, we represent them with P. The group C1 and C2, we represent them with C. And the group M1 and M2, we represent them with M. So there are 3 groups, the physics group, the chemistry group and the maths group. The first group can be selected in 3 ways. Any of the 3 groups can stand at the start. The second group can be selected in 2 ways amongst the remaining 2. And once you select the first 2 groups, the third group can be selected in exactly 1 way. So the number of ways in which the group order can be selected is 3 into 2 into 1, which is 6. Once the group has been finalized, suppose we assume that M comes first, then C and then P. Now the relative standing in M, that is whether M1 will come first or M2 will come first, can be selected in 2 ways. Similarly, the relative standing in C, that is will C2 come first or C1 come first, can be selected in another 2 ways. Same is the case even for P, that is whether P1 will come first or P2 will come first, can be selected in another 2 ways. So the total number of ways is 6 into 2 into 2 into 2, that is 6 into 8, which is equal to 48 ways, which is the answer. In this question we are told that 5 years ago the average age of A, B, C and D is 45 years. By including X in the present lot, the present age changes to 49 years and we are required to calculate what is the present age of X. So 5 years ago, if you are looking at the 4 people, A, B, C and D, their average age is 45 years. But this is 5 years ago. What would their present age be if you are looking only at this 4 people? All 4 of them would have aged by 5 years. So the present age of A, B, C and D, the present average age will be 50 years. So if you are summing up all their present ages, A plus B plus C plus D is equal to 200 years. That is if you are summing all the 4 ages. But if you are adding X to the present lot, then the average age of the 5 people becomes 49. That is A plus B plus C plus D plus X is equal to 49 into 5, which is equal to 245 years. So what is the present age of X? You have 2 equations. This is the second equation and this is the first equation. If you subtract the first equation from the second equation, you can cancel A, B, C, D and the value of X will be equal to 245 minus 200, which is equal to 45 years. So the correct answer is option B, which is 45 years. In this question we are given 4 options and we are required to find out which of the following sets of numbers can be used as the lengths of the sides of a triangle. If you are given 3 numbers A, B and C in ascending order, that is A is less than or equal to B is less than or equal to C, the 3 sides will be the sides of a triangle if and only if the sum of the smaller 2 sides, that is A plus B, is strictly greater than the largest side, that is C. So for A, B, C to be part of the sides of a triangle, the sum of the 2 shorter sides has to be strictly greater than the largest side. If you are looking at option A, 5 plus 7, because 5 and 7 are the 2 smaller sides, is equal to 12, which is exactly equal to the length of the third side. So this is not possible. You want the sum of the 2 smaller sides to be greater than, not equal to. If you are looking at the second option, the sum of the 2 shortest sides is 5 plus 7, which is again equal to 12. This is strictly greater than 9. So this is a possible triplet. If you are looking at option C, 7 plus 9 is equal to 16, which is less than 17. So even these 3 cannot be the sides of a triangle. Finally, if you are looking at option D, 2 plus 4 is equal to 6, which is again less than 10. So even these three cannot be the three sides of a triangle. So the correct option is option B. In this question, we are given a word extra and we are asked to find out in how many different ways can the letters of this word be arranged so that the vowels are not together. If you look at extra, there are two vowels in extra. One vowel is E and the other vowel is A. So what we'll do is we'll first find out all the different arrangements. Then we will find out the number of arrangements in which both the vowels are together. So from 1 we are going to subtract 2, then we will get all the number of different arrangements where the vowels are not together. Now what is the total number of arrangements that are possible using the 5 letters E, X, T, R, A? The total number of ways in which we can arrange them is 5 factorial, that is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which is 120. If there are no conditions, if there are no restrictions, you just have 5 alphabets and you need to arrange them in some order. The first letter can be any of the 5 letters, the second one can be any of the remaining 4, the third one can be any of the remaining 3, then 2 and then 1. So the total is 120. Now if you are trying to figure out how many ways can we arrange them such that both the vowels are together, let us assume that E and A are together and they form a new letter or a new set which is called V. Now you have 4 different entities. You have V, which is both the vowels together, X, T and R. Now essentially you can arrange these 4 in 4 factorial number of ways, which is equal to 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, which is 24. But in addition to that, even V can have 2 separate possibilities. You can have E and A, that is E followed by A, or the other way around. A comes first and E comes second. So the total number of ways in which this can be done is 24 into 2, which is 48. So the total number of arrangements is 120. Out of this 120, you have 48 arrangements in which both the vowels are together. So the number of arrangements in which both the vowels are not together is 120 minus 48, which is equal to 72. So the correct answer in this case is 72. In this question, we are given a table. The table contains data about the number of boys and number of girls in 6 different years in 5 different schools. The names of the schools are A, B, C, D and E, and the years are from 2014 to 2019. This is the information that is given to us. Let us go ahead and answer the questions that follow. The first question says that what is the approximate percentage decrease in the number of boys in school D in 2017 as compared to the previous year. So D in 2017, and we are required to look at the number of boys. If you look at it, it will be 5.3. So this is all given in hundreds, so this is 530. What is the number of boys in 2016 in school D? That will be equal to 6.4, so that is 640. So the decrease is 640 minus 530, which is equal to 110. If you are trying to calculate the percentage decrease, you divide it by 640 and multiply it with 100. If you simplify this, you will get an answer which is approximately equal to 17.1%. Among the 4 options, the closest is option A, which is 17%. Let us look at the next question. The number of girls in school B in 2018, the number of girls in school B in 2018, if you are looking at it, is 5.9, is approximately what is the total number of students in school E in 2015. School E 2015, what is the total number of students? If you are looking at E in 2015, that will be equal to 5.5 plus 3.6. This is approximately equal to 9.1. So the required percentage will be 5.9 divided by 9.1 into 100. If you simplify this, this will be approximately equal to 65%. So the correct answer is option B. Let us look at the next question. What is the average number of girls in school A in all the years taken together? If you are looking at the number of girls in each of the years, let us sum up all the numbers in this particular column. So that will be 3.6 plus 4.2 plus 6.9 plus 9.6 plus 12.9 plus 14.4. In general, I sum up two numbers at one go. So the sum of these two will be equal to 7.8. The sum of these two will be 15 plus 1.5. So this is 16.5. The sum of these two will be 26 plus 1.3. So this is 27.3. You can sum up again. This is 43.8 plus 7.8. So the total is 51.6. And how many years are there? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 years. So the required average is 8.6 into 100, which is equal to 860 girls were there on an average every year. Let us look at the last question. What is the ratio of the number of boys in school C in the year 2018? So if you are looking at C in 2018, the number of boys is 8.7. So that is 870. Divided by the number of girls in school A in the year 2018. In the year 2018 in A there are 129 into 100. So this is 1290 number of girls. So the required ratio is 870 divided by 1290. You can cancel 0 on both sides. So this is 87 by 129. You can then divide the numerator and denominator by 3. So 87 divided by 3 is 29 and 129 divided by 3 is 43. So the required answer is 29:43.